Oh, you were there?
I wasn't there, but I saw the video.
Oh, okay.
Hey, don't like do what you've been doing. Don't be nice. They're saying don't call people out. To hell with that. This is the last one. So you already so like don't do that. Is she not here? Is she's gonna show up, right?
Probably. I hope so. Yeah, I'm recording at this time because
Yeah, I got his.
I did too, and he told me not to share with anyone else. Like that's fair, but I also want one to be able to share. You're on my live. I have to live it because I don't have so. All right.
is put on by multiple different neighborhood associations that we will address in a bit. Thank you all so much for coming. As you know, we have lots of candidates this year, and so thank you for coming and being an informed voter. At the front, we do have some cards for audience questions. At the end, we're going to have a little bit of time for ad hoc questions. So if you do have a question that you'd like to ask the candidates, please go put those cards in there. There's water on the side over there if you need it, and bathrooms. We asked for pleasant decorum, and also to hold any clapping and applause. We want to make sure that we get through as many questions as possible, so that you guys have all of the information you need when it comes to coming to the ballot. So no clapping, please, until the end. And then we ask that you turn off your phones or put them on vibrate to limit disturbances. And the candidates are going to answer some of the questions that you see from the agenda. We're asking them to answer them in pretty quick order, just because we do have so many candidates, and we do need to be out of here by 8:30 sharp. But thanks to the church, they already set up, and we don't have to tear it down, so that's good. And with that, I will let Cynthia Spielman take the mic.
So many of you know me as that nagging person who keeps sending out the emails like, don't forget to show up, don't forget to come. I live in Beacon Hill, and if my granddaughter were here tonight, which she may be, I am the fourth generation to live in my family. I am, like so many of you, passionate about I'm passionate about having stable neighborhoods. You can't hear me? I'm not my teacher voice, but suffice. So if my granddaughter were here tonight, there would be 4 generations of us living in Beacon Hills. And like many of you, I'm passionate about my neighborhood. I want this neighborhood to be a place that legacy homeowners and renters can continue to live in and afford. But I also want to embrace change and welcome newcomers as they make our neighborhood our home. And so I know that many of you, if you're here, many of you got notice from your neighborhood association. Neighborhood association work and advocacy is a difficult and sometimes frustrating job, and we do it because we care. I want our candidates to know by the showing tonight and by your questions that we're engaged. We are voters and we care, and many of the voting issues are about stabilizing our communities, which if you live in a downtown neighborhood is sometimes very difficult. When I count to 3, I'd like for you to raise your voices and shout your neighborhood associations so they'll know you're here. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Hello everyone, thanks for coming. We'd like to thank the candidates for participating in our District 1 forum. We're going to introduce everyone. Everyone has a minute to introduce themselves, but we're going to go in ballot order. Melissa Madrona.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having us. I see familiar faces in the crowd, so that's exciting. So if you're hearing this again, I'm sorry. My name is Lisa Medrano Guerra. I am a small business owner in District 1. Me and my husband live and have a business in District 1. So I'm very passionate about the things that happen in the neighborhood because it involves my family. I am a child of immigrants, so I have had to work my entire life. I went to Texas State thinking that I wanted to be a homicide detective, and I'm not a homicide detective, but I worked at the Walmart distribution center from 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. 5 days a week while going to school full time. A lot of people that I meet in my life tell me that I have an old soul. I guess that means I've lived a lot of life. I've helped raise my sisters and do much more, but I'm excited. I'm excited to meet everybody and hear about your concerns. District 1 is very different, but there's a lot more.
Matthew.
My name is Matthew Young. I'm an environmental science student. I'm studying for BS at UTSA. I'm a former auditor for Aramark at the Frost Bank Center. So I have also, I'm a student at I'm also also a Basuda Bash tributary captain. So I have experience in both the private and public sectors on funding where the money is going. As an auditor at Basuda Bash participating in City Hall meetings and budget meetings as well. I am running this because, like many of us, all 9 of us, we want to see change at the city hall level. So, I hope my policies align with what your vision is for San Antonio. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Good evening. It's my honor to be here today as your District 1 City Councilwoman. District 1 is such a diverse district with so many unique needs. I'm going to share 2 quick stories about residents that we've been able to help in our work to tell you about what we do. First is Miss Yolanda. She lives in Central Los Angeles Heights. We got a call about her this winter because she was freezing and her heat wasn't working. We were able to go to her home, do a site visit, and replace 9 windows so that she could feel a little bit more warm this winter. Second, we've been working with the Beacon Hill neighborhood, which is where I'm from, on Capitol Avenue to really address a vacant nuisance property lot to be able to see what we can do with it. We worked with the county to foreclose on that property and are going to actually be able to turn it into parkland. I just got that confirmed this week. That project has taken us a year. So we've learned a lot over the last 2 years. And I'm asking for your vote today for a second term to be able to keep fighting for the diverse needs of District 1 and make sure you have an advocate on the dais. Mr. Gonzalez.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ramiro Gonzalez. I'm running to be your next city councilman. What separates me from everyone else up here is that I'm born and raised in this district. I know these neighborhoods. I graduated from Medicine High School, San Antonio College, UTSA, but I also know City Hall. I have over 23 years of experience in city government and community development experience. And I'm asking for your support so that I can put those years of experience to work for you, solving the problems of District 1. Housing, infrastructure, economic development, homelessness. These are all things I've worked on throughout my career. And I didn't care about these things when I started to run for council. It's been my entire career in my DNA. When you know what levers to pull as a city, we start to see change in our community. I'm asking you to help me to work for you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dominique Domingo Litbitz. You may not know who I am, but by the end of this, I'll help you understand why I'm running. I'm not a politician. I'm just someone that loves this city. I do what I can to bring people together through community, through celebration, through food. That's why you'll find me at Fiesta selling pizza-sized quesadillas. Because it's the things that bring people joy, that can help us feel connected. It's why I'm running at such a young age. Because I can't sit around and wait, twiddle my thumbs and hope things get better. When I look around at your neighborhood, I don't see celebration, I see challenges. I see people left behind. And I'm not here to play the game. I'm here to be the part for my city, to use my voice for San Antonio.
Maureen Melendez.
Hi, I am a grassroots housing justice organizer, a marriage and family therapist, and a single mom of 3. Today I want to talk about that single mom part because I was thinking earlier how for my entire life there is nothing that I could do that will make me more proud than what I have done the past 7.5 years as a single mom. When I first came, I moved back to San Antonio 7.5 years ago with my 3 kids. My youngest wasn't even 1 yet, and my minivan. Like literally, that was it. Nothing even, whatever could fit in the minivan. By a miracle of God, I ended up at Soap Factory Apartments with then Soapworks. And I just look back at all of that time and think like, wow, I can literally do anything. And that makes me think about city council and be like, I have absolutely no fear about city council. In fact, like I don't have any fears about this. I haven't felt anxiety throughout this whole campaign. It just feels like authentically what I'm meant to be doing. And I hope that you all can see that authenticity tonight and that I'm hearing your vote. Thank you.
Susan Strong.
Thank you, and thank you all for being here, and thank you especially to the organizers. I know this was a lot of work to put on, so we really appreciate it. My name is Susan Strong, and I just want you to know 3 quick things about me. I'm a resident, and I've served on the Riverwood Neighborhood Board twice, last time as vice chair. And I'm running because I think, like many of you, we believe that the neighborhoods have been ignored in this last administration. So I'm running to try to right that. Second of all, I am a now retired federal prosecutor where I lived for 26 years. And most recently, I served as the nationwide coordinator for civil fraud enforcement, which means fraud in government contracting, and where I handled policy planning and contract management for the Department of Justice. And third, last, because I'm retired, I am a full-time person. I can be your full-time council person, and I believe you deserve a full-time council person. I'll be responsive to you. Thank you.
Good evening, and I want to thank all of y'all here. This is the largest crowd that I've talked to, especially in your all District 1. Most of the time, there's people from other districts and not District 1, so thank you for being here tonight. My name is Anita Marie Kegley, and I want to be your next city council person. I think I'm going to be, so I hope you vote for me because I'm going to be helping you. But my history, I've had been a commercial contractor for over 40 years. I get jobs done on time and in budget, which is something that most of the city contractors don't do. But I have done city work, so I've been experienced in that. But the thing that I want to share with all of you is that I want to put God back in our city. And for you that don't want to believe in Jesus as our Christ and Savior, even if you don't want to believe that, which I do, and I do that all the time, the biblical principles about respect and giving everybody equal opportunity, that's good regardless of what people do.
Good evening, I'm Patty Gibbons, and I have been walking every one of your neighborhoods. We've knocked on over 6,000 doors, but I'm very close to the neighborhood. I was the neighborhood president of Greater Harmony Hills for 6 years, and the neighborhood means everything to me. I always look at District 1 as kind of composed of a lot of little villages, because each of you have a unique flavor to your neighborhood. I own a business with my husband for 30 years. We're a land surveyor. I'm a mother of 6 children. And I have to confess that before you read it in the paper, I am a mother of 2 sets of twins on that one. So it's no crisis. But I enjoy serving. It's one of the things I love to do. I've done it for a very long time. I'm the only candidate up here who has served on boards and commissions. I served on the zoning commission for 4 years, San Antonio Housing Trust, and the small minority women-owned business as well. And on those boards and commissions where you advocate to change policy that works for all of you. And I hope to serve you in District 1. I'm Patty Gibbons.
And just one more thing for the candidates, the former event planner in me, just want to let you all know that that is a kiss mic, and so you have to put it pretty close to your mouth for folks in the back to really hear you. Just want to let you know.
It is just wonderful to see so many people dedicate the evening to educate yourselves about your candidates. And there's a lot to choose from, so this is really going to be a great educational event for you. And I'm really impressed with the organizers. They've just invited me to moderate, so I had nothing to do with putting all this wonderful stuff together for you. They did a great job. I am from the League of Women Voters, and if you just, so you know the League is a organization. We've been around 105 years, active in Bexar County since 1940. And our vision is that every eligible adult will be registered to vote and have the information they need to do so. One of the products, our signature product really is our voter's guide, which you may have picked up as you came in. That's one of the things we do. We also work on voters' rights issues, and we have an online version of the voter's guide. Just to quickly recap, please do hold your applause until we're done, because we do have an awful lot to get through. We're going to try to let the candidates answer a lot of questions. I'm going to start we'll start at one end of the table, then we'll reverse and go the other way. And, so without further ado, oh, and I did want to, I think you heard that, in the back we're collecting audience questions. And so if we get through our preset questions, we'll move on to some of the audience questions. So if you want to, submit one, please go to the registration table. Okay, so, Ms. Madrono, we will start with you. And please listen, it's a fairly long question, so I'll read it carefully. As development pressures increase in San Antonio, downtown neighborhoods are targets of much of the city's policy and development. Despite the work that has been put in by neighborhood and land use plans, these are often disregarded, seriously destabilizing these unique historic neighborhoods and communities. How will you help stabilize downtown neighborhoods in the face of developer and city policies? And please, I'm sorry, I didn't want to mention, please do pay attention to our timekeeper here. She will give you a 10-second warning. You have 1 minute. She'll give you a 10-second warning and then a stop.
I think it's extremely important that we protect the character of our neighborhoods. I live in King William, on King William Street, so I am aware of the pressures and everything that is happening in downtown and how it will affect us tremendously. I think the biggest issues that we face currently is that there's not enough communication with the city and the neighborhoods. With my time since I started running is I've met with so many neighborhoods and so many people in each neighborhood, and they feel ignored. They feel like, as you mentioned, these voices and everything that they're concerned about aren't being represented in city council. For example, if you guys are reading the news like I am, it feels like Project Marble is in a rush. Unfortunately, I think this is going to be before we come to office, but there's a lot of information that these neighborhoods don't know, and they're worried about protecting their homes because they don't want to be moved out, and they're worried about raising their families. I think it's extremely important that we just communicate with each other.
Thank you. Mr. Lawrence?
Yes, as development pressure increases, we see encroachment on our neighborhoods, and we see these higher density apartment buildings and stuff like that that can be used as infill development, and the urban core being pushed out because of urban sprawl. So we would be needing to change the Unified Development Code and allowing those type of buildings to be built closer to downtown and not encroaching in these neighborhoods. A second thing that was mentioned was the neighborhood policy plans and disregarding city plans. I spoke with city planners and master senior planners for the city. It makes no sense that we are hiring these people and we're asking their expert opinion, and then we're just totally disregarding it to have whatever council person, Deja is coming in and they're installing their plans while totally disregarding our city planners and plans like SA Vision 2020 and these city plans that we can all Google and view for ourselves that are totally disregarded.
Thank you. Ms. Keller?
Thank you. As Cynthia said in her introduction, I think this is really important for us in District 1 right now. We have to make sure that as we create a District 1 where our grandkids can live in, we also celebrate the characteristics of the neighborhood. And that's why it's really important that we continue the partnership that was exemplified through even in the TOD process, where every case that comes through for transit-oriented development still has to go through zoning, which allows for neighborhoods to really integrate and communicate with their council person to be able to convey what is going to happen to that specific lot. I think the second thing we really need to do a better job of is how we're engaging our residents. It's so important for us as council people to be able to hear from the people that are affected, and we need to create more opportunities throughout all of the processes, even in the central planning process for each of the communities that's being created. We have to get more voices to the table so we can truly do a good job of representing all of the 150,000 people that live and breathe in District 1 in the future residents, like all the kids that we see here today.
Thank you. Mr. Gonzalez?
The conflict that we face as a district is we're a really popular district. Everybody wants to live in District 1, and for a lot of really great reasons. We have fantastic neighborhoods. We're growing as a city. We're going to get 1 million people by 2040. We've got to figure out where to put people. But that means we have to do it the right way. We have to make sure that it aligns with the priorities and the values of our neighborhoods, And I absolutely agree, our plan amendment system and our zoning amendment system is sometimes just too simple. Too easy sometimes for developers, especially when they already know they've got the yes from the council member. So we have to make sure that there's more teeth in that to make sure that our neighborhoods have more of a say, but we also need to make sure that we have to do it in a way that still allows the growth, still allows the housing so that we can continue to support the population as it grows and keep our prices affordable. The other thing I'll say is that in the last budget, the council defunded several of our key community institutions which are intended to protect and defend many of our neighborhoods around downtown. As your council member, I'll make sure that they are reinstated and continue to protect our neighborhoods.
Mr. Lippert.
So while we have zones of development, we need to speak with the residents that are in those areas affected. How do we protect our communities? We ask the community. We ask y'all. If y'all don't like it, what do? You put out yard signs that say, no rezoning. And it's the job of the city to listen. That's what a good council person will do. Listen to their community and meet your needs, because you come first. Thank you.
Mr. Dorn.
Housing economy is my jam. So I'm for the development of high-quality housing, family housing. But what we have right now, I think you will all notice, is lots of infill, high-density apartment buildings with no windows even, of studios and one bedrooms, and they're falling apart after like a year. That is what we don't. Imagine San Antonio in 30 years with all of that infill development, high density, that's all just falling apart. And so we really need to make sure that we have developers in check and that we have a city council that understands that you can't just allow developers to build all of these high density apartment buildings without really understanding what that's going to do to housing costs. Because ultimately what that does is inflate the land value underneath it. So if you have an empty piece of land and you put 500 units on top of it, it inflates the land value, which inflates the property taxes, and causes all of us to have to pay more. I want to say something that's different than that for all.
Thank you. Ms. Strong.
Thank you. So, when I moved to San Antonio and I moved to River Road, I fell in love with the neighborhood and I fell in love with the historic and legacy neighborhoods of D1. And I want to stabilize those neighborhoods and make sure that whatever happens in the way of growth, which has to happen, that we maintain the character and scale of our neighborhoods. So to do that, I think we have to celebrate the diversity that our neighborhoods already have. Most of our neighborhoods have small buildings, we have duplexes and triplexes, we have accessory dwelling units. We need to work with what we have as well as creative reuse and readaptive for new growth. So that is where my priority would be. It starts with public engagement, and it starts with engagement on whatever we have, whether it's a rezoning or it's a Project Marble. We have to have a council person who will reach out to the community proactively before these things happen. We shouldn't have to learn about rezoning after it's already happened. We need someone to proactively keep track and reach out and solve the neighborhood.
Ms. Kegley.
I'll tell you, with all the development, we've just been handed and said, you have the green line. You have the Marble project. I know they say that Marble project is on the November ballot, but regardless of whether it passes on the November ballot, it's going to be here. I mean, just embrace yourself. So my thought is that we need to embrace it and make the best of it. And I'll tell you, there's been several people in King William and the Pearl District that have reached out to me. And so we need to, all these things that are coming on, we just need to integrate and make it as feasible. Like King William doesn't have parking, the Pearl people that live around there don't have parking. They can't even, a 77-year-old lady can't even get home at the end of the day, and she has to walk 5 blocks away. That's ridiculous. We've got to restructure the roads. We've got to find parking for the residences, and we just need to embrace, and we need to see how it will all work together, because it's been dealt to us. We got to just make the best of it.
Thank you. Ms. Gibbons.
The transit-oriented development project is the largest incompatible development than we have seen in many, many years. I served on zoning 44 years, I saw plenty of incompatible on a small scale. That project did not get your voice, no one heard you. Even though we went to meeting after meeting, and I'm the only one up here who attended the meetings, including the city council. No one was there to listen to your voice. 225 members of Monte Vista showed up to discuss how they felt about the top, because it would destroy the roadways that goes further down south on San Pedro. That is the largest and the most incompatible development, infill development, if you want to call it infill, because it will infill. I think that we've got to look at how vote is taken on council, how vote is taken on zoning, and how vote is taken on planning. Because when these plan amendments are done, they are almost 8 to a year in process by your neighborhood.
Thank you.
And if they can be flipped by just a majority vote.
Thank you. So please hold the mic, we'll reverse order. So the second question is about infrastructure. San Antonio was the fastest growing city in the country in 2024. While the city has emphasized needed development, the corresponding infrastructure has lagged behind, especially stormwater management and pedestrian and bike infrastructure. As a District 1 council member, what will you do to identify needs and maximize infrastructure improvement in District 1?
Well, I think we have to look at public works. I think we've got some mismanagement problems going on there. So that needs to probably get a good audit and good look at. Infrastructure, I ran for city council in 2017. And these were the same topics I ran on: infrastructure, crime, and loose dogs. The same ones that are not getting resolved. So what happens? What is happening that many years, I come back, run for office, and there's still the same things. We may have the wrong mindset, and we may have the wrong people in office trying to solve it. I am a set of fresh eyes for you. And I come from a conservative ideology that says this isn't going to work this way because it's too expensive, takes too long, and you're going to have to look at it more carefully than what you are. But I also think that as far as stormwater management, every one of us has a stormwater fee that comes off of our water bill. Who's using it, and when is it getting used? Because it's a lot of money that started in 2016.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Kegley, infrastructure.
Yes, infrastructure is one of the most critical, and I'm concerned about the money being spent in our budget to handle the Marble project and make sure that it works fine. What about the rest of the city of San Antonio? I will tell you that if you don't know, that April is pothole month. So if you call 311 or download the app, you can get your pothole fixed in 2 days. And I think that's awesome. I was gonna go get some fixed that I knew from block walking, and they were already fixed. So I'm really happy that the city's doing that. But as far as the stormwater management, I know some of the neighborhoods have been, especially in District 5, have been displaced, and they wanna they've already got the plans, they've got it engineered, and they're just booting all these people out of their home. Well, they're not even giving them very much money. So if this is necessary for us to preserve our city and our integrity and not have flooding, I think we need to pay double what the appraisal price is for booting these people out of their homes, just giving them, 60%.
Thank you. Ms. Strong.
Thank you. So as a federal prosecutor and the civil fraud coordinator nationwide, I dealt with fraudulent contracts and public procurement. So I know this area. And I would say we are not getting what we're paying for with public works and with infrastructure projects. We need to have a good look. We have a great opportunity because we're going to have a new director of public works from September. We need to do a nationwide search. We need to make sure that we get the right person in that job, and we probably need to help them out with a programmatic audit, an external audit along the way, so we can figure out what's going wrong with it. Is it our bidding process? Is it the implementation? Is it the planning, or is it no oversight? We need strong oversight from City Council and Public Works, and we need to make sure that we're getting what we pay for. We need to also implement things like the quick build projects, because there's no excuse for taking 5 years to paint a crosswalk or install a stop sign. We need to take care of our quick projects while we can.
Ms. Galinda?
First, I think that the biggest concern that I have anyway is in the future. future that all of this irresponsible growth of our infrastructure impacts low-income communities the worst. I just want to say that first. And then second, what I think the root of the issue is that we have a city hall where the city manager has more power than the mayor and city council. It's supposed to be even, but it doesn't look like that. And then we have a whole bunch of crony friends. We have a whole bunch of crony friends who get all of the contracts off of City Hall. And so it barely even goes through that whole request for proposal process before one of their friends already gets it. And then a lot of times it's somebody who owns a engineering company, say, but they're not even an engineer. And so they're doing work that they don't even know how to do, and then if they have to make it go longer, then they just easily get more money. And then we have a city council that doesn't fight that just lets city management go ahead and do whatever it is that they want to do for all of their buddies. And
Thank
so
you very
that's
much.
what we're saying to happen.
Mr. Lippitz.
So infrastructure, it's everywhere. The way you manage that is you get out there and you see the city, ride your bike, get on the bus. I see some solutions, they're not perfect. I would try and make some mixed use bicycle/car lanes, paint some bicycle lanes for priority access to bicycle lanes. And that's just some of my suggestions. I get out there and I see things. Over on Airport Boulevard, when people first enter the city, it says you are entering San Antonio Airport, and that sign is flat on its face. There are 17 lights that are out of order and one toppled over. I've been waiting to see if they'll get fixed. They haven't, so I'm bringing it up tonight. The community around there, they're my friends, they're my family. They say we don't feel safe, we want speed bumps. To the community of Everest, Ridgecrest, Empire, and Conway, I see you. I got out there and I collected the signatures. When the current council did not get out there and even try, I collected 50%, and it shows that they want a change. So you gotta just get out there and see what's going on.
Thank you very much. Mr. Gonzalez.
Thank you. So, many years ago, as a city, we adopted an equity lens towards our infrastructure approach, which was really looking at improvements in infrastructure in districts based on the longest period of neglect, the most need, the roads that are in the worst condition. The problem is, in the past 10 years, we've allowed too much political influence into that. So you may have been at the top of the list because you had the most deteriorated road, and then every time we have an election, they're able to shuffle it again based on wherever the votes are coming from. And we need to take a more objective approach towards our infrastructure, allow our engineers to do their job so that they can objectively say, these are the 10 worst roads, these are the ones that we need to be investing in. Because that's how you end up getting kicked off the list even after you talk to a council member at some point. That political influence is starting to hurt our neighborhoods. And finally, there are a lot of other funds within the city that we can start to get really creative, tax increment reinvestment funds, CDBG funds. They can be used creatively to take care of some of these issues so that we don't have to be using operating and maintenance dollars.
Thank you very much. Ms. Keller?
I can talk about infrastructure for an entire day. This is literally the most difficult issue that we faced in the last 2 years. And I thought it was similar, the issue was similar to what Rand was mentioning. But actually, it's not. It's that every year, streets deteriorate at a different pace based on how fast people are riding on them. And sidewalks are the responsibility of the homeowners in front of us. So they're not even budgeted for it. So what I'm hoping to do in this second term is two things. One is create a plan that will allow us to accurately assess every year where our village streets and sidewalks are. And two, is really advocate for a significant amount of funding to go into infrastructure needs in our 2027 bond, because we currently in District 1 have 340 open projects that have been requested to us, and can only do about 3 or 4 a year. We just funded a crosswalk in front of the school that really needed an elementary school, and the crosswalk cost $325,000. So I absolutely agree with the quick bill strategy that Susan was mentioning, which is why we actually filed a policy about that earlier this year, and the city's applying for a grant from the federal government. Hopefully it goes through.
Thank you very much. Mr. Gorman?
Yep. Conservative or liberal, we can both agree that the streets need to be fixed. And as your city council person, I would not be there to play politics. I would be there to get the street fixed. Infrastructure, it was mentioned that we need an auditor by Patty as well. We need to do an audit of these streets, and it was mentioned that we need to call a 311 truck. We can drive and see those without, having to call the truck. That should be proactive. That truck should be out there whether we call or not, looking for potholes to fix. It shouldn't be waiting till someone makes that call. We are one of the fastest growing cities. By 2030, we'll have another billion people there. There's another billion people worth of cars, and all that is going to take a toll on our infrastructure, like was mentioned. Right now, to slow the speeds, you may notice them installing bike lanes. That's to cut down on the cost over time. That just adds to traffic headaches. You know, these things are being put left and right, but there's no traffic data to say that.
Thank you very much. Ms. Madrona.
Infrastructure is the most important thing to me. It is the first step outside of your home. I'm disappointed because while I've been meeting with people, there's neighborhoods in San Antonio that don't have sidewalks at all. Their children are literally just trying to walk to school and feel safe, and they don't. I think we need to hold people accountable to making sure that these things get done. It's something that affects your everyday life, and it doesn't get done. I think we have a priority problem, not a budget problem. The city's spending $20,000 just to send city council to the final floor, when we must be spending that money in a different way.
Thank you. So our third question is about neighborhood housing. According to the 2024 status of poverty report, over 250,000 San Antonio residents still live at or below the Census Bureau poverty line. That is the second highest poverty rate in Texas. Additionally, the city's median income continues to lag behind state and national averages. With growing concern over economic instability and the potential loss of federal income, how will you, as a city council member, advocate for stronger citywide resources and policies that prevent displacement and ensure that every resident has access to safe, affordable housing?
Everyone, once again, just wants somewhere where they can raise their families. And I think we have a really big problem. Our SAWs and CPS rates go up every single year. I think that's the most immediate thing that city council can do. As a city council person, the reality is you make more than the average person in San Antonio, so you should have someone that's advocating and fighting for you because it's their job. It's your job to make sure that you can afford to live in your home or your home that you've lived in since you were a child. There's no reason why anyone should have to feel like they're being pushed out when your rates have to go up every single year.
Yes, as mentioned, we are having a policy that is displacing people. On the west side, where they are doing flood mitigation, people are getting notices that they have to sell their homes, and then if people buy this, they cannot build on top of the land. So we need to have policy that prevents displacing people in the first place, keeping the housing costs down, and keeping people in their homes. That's first and foremost. Is having a policy to prevent people from losing their homes. And when we see increasing environmental disasters that will lead to increasing flooding, we have to balance keeping people safe and having people's property rights to balance. The median income in San Antonio, again, is one of the lowest in Texas. We need to bring good paying jobs here, and that means providing incentives to these technology companies and cybersecurity companies like we see the city doing.
Thank you very much. Ms. Clark.
District 1 is the one place in the city where you can see the economic divide and economic segregation at its heart, going from one neighborhood to the other. So affordable housing is absolutely necessary to be a focus in the next 5 years in our district. Two ways we do that. One is putting more money into the major minor home rehab program, and two, the multifamily home rehab program, and then also ensuring that there's enough supply of affordable housing to ensure that people can stay and afford to live here. But the second part of that question is actually at the root cause of my background, which is education. We have to continue to update the Ready to Work program to ensure that we're upskilling our workforce and work with our school districts to see how we can support the 11th and 12th graders that are going into STEM programs to be able to see if we can get them into that as well. So in order to ensure displacement, it does not occur in District 1, we have to keep homes affordable and make sure that we're upskilling our workforce.
Thank you. Mr. Gonzalez.
So I agree, essentially the solution is twofold. We have to be creating affordable housing where we can, and I've spent most of my career doing that in various ways, including on the west side where I raised the funds to specifically be purchasing vacant homes throughout the west side and selling them affordably. I created a program to land bank properties to preserve them for future affordability. And the other part is that we have to make sure that we provide economic mobility. So one is making sure that there's safe, affordable housing for everyone, but also we need to be creating on-ramps for people to be able to get better jobs, better wages, and better opportunities, so that even if they are in affordable housing, it can serve more as an incubator to be able to allow them to then move to that next level, vacate it, and make space for the next family, so that we can continue a cycle of prosperity for our residents.
Thank you. Ms. Wood.
So we need to make a concerted effort to retain our affordable housing. This duty does not stop at District 1, at the boundary line. It is our duty to work with every other council member in every other district on this issue. Because too many people complain that when you step across that boundary line, that neighborhood is a lot better than this neighborhood. We don't want people moving out to the east side and the west side and creating bubbles of communities of lower income. We need to have targeted zoning areas with incentives for building affordable housing. The cut-through fees have lower loan costs. When you build more, it drives down the price by creating competition, and competition is healthy. We all should have a safe, affordable home that we can all live in.
Thank you, Ms. Silica.
Do you know what's crazy? So many of these affordable housing developments that are getting built, the developer doesn't have to pay taxes on for like 70 years. Maybe like 20% of them are slightly affordable, and then they drive up the rest of the rents in order to make up for those subsidies. And then, like I was talking about with that high density infill development, it raises all of the cost of living for everybody. How ironic. I've researched so many different cities. Usually cities are trying to take this from a two-pronged approach. Supply, which is unsurprising, that's what they're always trying to do, which I'm not against supply, but responsibly. And then anti-displacement. And then I could say a lot about that. I will just say though that I was heavily involved in the rent relief program that came out of Soapworks Apartments when I lived there, and actually like oversaw that through a participatory lens inside of the city for a whole year to make sure that we were hearing from the people who were receiving those funds in order to understand what the
Thank you very much.
And that's what I think that we need to do, is understand displacement first.
Ms. Strong.
Thank you. So affordable housing is really hard. Cities have been trying to deal with this across the country for many years, and we haven't solved it. And I don't think any of us up here have a solution. So all I can do really is promise to you that I will abide by certain principles, and that I will do my best to talk to the experts and figure out what works. One of those principles, though, is that we should not destroy or compromise the stability and existence of our current beautiful neighborhoods. Beautiful cities bring people, bring job creators, bring families that want to live in our neighborhoods. And we, as I said before, we have a diversity of housing stock that appeals to lots of different income levels within our neighborhoods. Our neighborhoods are some of the most walkable, business-oriented neighborhoods that we have. So we need to do that. We do need to create new affordable housing, for sure, but we need to figure out how to do that in an economically feasible way.
Thank you very much. Ms. Kegley.
Okay, so I want to ask all of you, how many of you want an affordable housing project next to where you live? All of you? Okay, well, here's what I think. I think we need to educate all of our citizens in San Antonio and bring up the level of their income so that they can afford market rate apartments. I mean, I think that the Alamo City College Bonds program that's going to be on the ballot, I am for that. It's increasing the school facilities to help educate our kids. The workforce program that's in place, that this needs to be fine-tuned. We need to keep doing that. We need to keep giving our children the tools so that they can get smarter and make more money. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gibbons.
I think the SHIP plan needs a little bit of a you look, I think it's not addressing the 30% AMI. Those are the ones that need the affordable housing the most. A lot of the new affordable housing development has way too much of the 80% and 60% AMI. And we're getting very little of those who desperately need to be housed and desperately need those low incomes. So we need to work on that better. That SHIP plan needs to address that more. These are also going to be infill developments that you may not want in your neighborhood, like Anita said. It is true, you have to take it carefully because it can affect your asset as it is. But we are taking property, if you land bank, if you affordable housing develop, you are taking land off tax rolls for a good number of years. So now where's we're gonna pick up the rest of that tax? Affordable housing developers do not do this by charity, they all make a very good sum of money.
Thank you very much, and please hold on to the microphone. Question number 4 is about the city budget process. What are your top 3 priorities regarding the budget and how you will be able to ensure transparency to neighborhoods in how the budget is being spent? Yes. What are your top 3 priorities regarding the budget and how will you be able to ensure transparency to neighborhoods in how the budget is being spent?
When I say that I come with a fresh set of eyes, we were redistricted Greater Harmony Hills out of District 9 into District 1. And John Courage was our city council. And he did something I thought was very good, and that was participatory budgeting. The councilwoman said that she would do participatory budgeting when she first got elected, and that never happened. It's a very good way of involving all of you, all the different economic status, all the different neighborhoods, to put out there what are the issues that you really need repaired or fixed. And participatory budgeting allows you to offer that and then out to the community to decide, okay, we think this looks good and this needs done. It's a great way to include all the community to help you all working on it and bring District 1 together. I thought it was good. I think Courage did it many, many years as council. I do think the budget needs, I guess I can answer the question.
Thank you. And I'd like to remind the candidates not to refer to one another or disparage one another. Ms. Cagle.
All right, so I already know that there's a lot of stuff in city council, in the budget that should go away. And I know I talked about God earlier. Well, if it's not based on biblical principles, like the abortion travel that the city council keeps putting in there, it's not right. It's against the law of the state, and we shouldn't be. And because they tried to put $500,000 and the city's wasting $1 million right now because they did that, the San Antonio Family Association. So all of y'all paid $1 million for them doing what was against the law. So number one, we need to get a city council that will keep within the law and not try to do stuff that's out of their power and authority. That's going to save us a lot of money. And then the programs that only serve a few people and not the majority of the constituents of San Antonio or the majority of the people in District 1, we need to get rid of them. We need to include everybody to benefit, not just a few.
Thank you. Ms. Plum.
Thank you. So I'll just address that really quickly. It's not against the law currently. It may be against the law at the end of this legislative session, but it's not right now. Thank you. So this summer is going to be what I would call a crisis budget. We are faced with massive federal cuts on everything from the measles vaccine to mental health services to veteran services to police officers on the street as a result of DOGE. We need to figure out where those cuts are happening, whether they're cuts directly to the city budget, whether they're cuts of money that is going to come through the state that's now not going to come, whether it's cuts to our grantees like Meals on Wheels that are funded directly by grants from the federal government. We have to figure out, we have to do a real risk analysis and figure out where those cuts are going to be, and that would be my priority, is we need to take care of essential services with this summer's budget. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
This isn't being disparaging, I'm just being very objective. I want to let you guys know factually. I can't believe I forgot to say in the last one that your council member voted to destroy and demolish the last naturally affordable housing downtown. Also, very objectively, 2 forums ago.
I don't think this is appropriate.
budget 2 forums ago. I wouldn't know this if it wasn't for the current councilwoman saying it, so thank you for saying it. That apparently the city uses this assumption-based model for the budget. I always would say and laugh at people, like, they're literally just guessing what a future economy is gonna look like and basing the entire budget off of that. It makes no sense at all. When she said that, assumption-based model, and that she approves that, I was like, what that sounds like, and I looked it up. Yes, an assumptions-based model budgeting that our city hall uses is based off of a guess of the future. We can't have that. We have to deal, imagine as a single mom, if I just
Thank you
guess.
very much.
Whatever.
Thank you. Ms. Lewis?
So, in order to ensure transparency, you could go down to City Hall and see what we approved the budget for. And if someone recorded it, so you can find out what happened. If you're lucky. We shouldn't have to hire private auditors to see where the money is going. We should have a portal on our government website updating you how the money's being spent. That's how you're informed as a voter. We need to spend our money, or how I would spend our money, is on programs that affect the residents and can benefit y'all. If you need help, you should get the help you need. If you can't afford to take care of your pet, get them spayed or neutered, you should be able to get that help. If you're a small business growing, you should be able to get the help you need, because our small business is our culture. We don't come to San Antonio for Chili's and Applebee's, we come for the tacos and tamales. And lastly, we should spend it on affordable programs to help with our health, our wellness, the food bank, things that will help y'all with vets. That's what I want.
Thank you very much.
So first and foremost priorities are public safety, infrastructure, and I'd say housing and neighborhoods. And really closely tied to that is economic development. Those would be my priorities going in, to make sure that we have our bases covered. And with the housing, neighborhood, and economic development, in my experience as a nonprofit CEO, there's a lot of ways that philanthropy and partnerships are stepping up in order to address some of these things. But we have to know what tool we need to, someone in this role who knows what those different tools are, so we can be leveraging dollars that are out there. That way it does free up more money in our budget for the essentials like the public safety and infrastructure. There are social impact funds that can be created to specifically address particularly some of our housing challenges. And there's corporations and foundations willing to step up in that way, but San Antonio has never really embraced that and really leveraged that in the way that we could. So I want to make sure that we are utilizing and prioritizing our dollars on the things we need most, and then getting creative with partnerships to do the rest. Thank you.
So I'll go really specific with this request, because we've done a lot of research on this. Every summer, you'll get to participate in a survey that it shows us what folks want our budget dollars to go to. So I highly encourage everyone to participate in that. And the three things that always come up the most is our streets and sidewalks, our unhoused population, and ACS, straight up and stock. So those are the three areas very specifically that we're going to be addressing additional funding for. Specifically within that, we want to make sure we create a vet program to be able to recruit vets to the city by creating a tuition reimbursement. For our streets and sidewalk program, like I mentioned earlier, we want to address, and from a true equity base for sidewalks that are a quarter mile from the school, that they get prioritized. And then lastly, for our unhoused population, we need to continue supporting our permanent supported housing that we've already started. It's the #1 best way that shows results, as we've seen in other cities like Houston, and so we have to continue to support that to make sure that our communities feel safe for all.
Thank you. Mr. Carroll?
Yes, the budget, accounting and auditing, that is my background, and I gotta tell you, when people see the auditor or the accounting department show up, it's not a good day for them, because we're finding out where the money is going. And I'm sure some of you on the professional business can attest to that. You know, you don't wanna see the accounting or the auditing, guys in your department. Like Susie mentioned, the recession and the federal funding cuts from DOGE, we're losing funding for infrastructure, we're losing public safety money, and we're also losing money for our public transportation. The top three priorities on budget, they're already laid out. You can Google the San Antonio City budget. Our top three spenders are SAPD, CPS, and SAWS. So we need to be finding out where that money is going and why and ensuring in transparency, finding out where that money is going, finding out the public safety disconnects, how come they're getting over 50% of the budget, yet we
Thank you
feel
very
it's
much. Ms. Madrona?
As an elected official, obviously, you have to be able to listen to everyone. District 1 is extremely different in all aspects, but I think we can all agree that everyone has problems, but they're all really the same thing. Everyone is worried about the infrastructure and then the safety of their neighborhoods. Those are the most important things that we deal with in order to grow a family. That's the biggest thing is that we aren't hearing and we're not being communicated with, which is really why there's 9 challengers, is because people feel like they're being ignored. I think we have sessions that are recorded, but we have busy lives. We have children, we have families, we have jobs, and it's not really accessible for everyone to show up and be there in person. And there needs to be a more effective and transparent way to communicate all these changes and budget problems to the community.
Thank you. Okay, this is called a lightning. You have 30 seconds to answer, and it's not an easy question. It's about Project Marvel. I'm just going to shorten the question a little bit. Are you in favor of Project Marvel, yes or no? And tell us your thoughts on the project funding and how the project was conceived. To support your yes or no answer. Again, 30 seconds. So please.
I currently sit neutral on Project Marvel. I don't know enough about it, and I think it's because there is that lack of communication. I think if it's going to be something like the Frost Center, where the Spurs only pay 10% of their shares and they threaten to leave us every other year, then I don't think that's the appropriate way to do it. There's a lot of stuff that's going to affect their neighborhoods.
I do not support Project Marvel in its current form. A lot of that funding is based on tourism. I don't know about you, people don't travel in a recession. So if we're planning on the next 5 years to be based on tourism, are those people guaranteed to be coming in? No, we're basing it on the hotel occupancy tax, and that's not enough to cover that. If that money should be going towards infrastructure, like we've all mentioned before, and we have city council railroading this, going over our heads and going above the community to improve this.
I am in support, but we need to do a much better job of community engagement. There must be a community benefits agreement tied to it. There must be an infrastructure bond and a housing bond if anything goes forward. Because we have to make sure that any project that comes through with Project Marvel, which includes the convention center, Alamo Dome, a land bridge potentially connecting the east side, inclusive of maybe the Spurs Stadium, that all of those components are really considered thoughtfully. We need to do a lot more community engagement, and we'll have a plan from the city manager by the end of April.
Thank you. Mr. Gonzalez.
I'm supportive of Project Marvel. I believe that a lot of it is long-term maintenance and deferred upgrades for a lot of the package, and then a lot of new things, of course. But I believe it can be good for our city if we do it the right way. And the right way means they pay their fair share. That means that we have real return on investment for any tax dollars expended, and that our neighborhoods get real value, real tangible value, not like AT&T, 20 years ago, promised value, but real value that is tied to that agreement and has some
Thank you
actual
very
teeth.
much. Mr. Whitworth.
Project Marvel is all about tourism and sports. The Final Four brought in $450 million in sales revenue. So why doesn't that make that for the stadium? If it vests private interest, the private interest should be the ones to pay. And the city needs to be transparent about it. We have been transparent from the start, and even right now. District 2 and District 1 are the only ones that are in the talks about the development. This affects everyone, the whole city. It shouldn't just include 2 people. I'm for it, but they need to pay for it if it's gonna vest for private interests and not y'all. Thank you.
Ms. Gallagher.
When has City Hall ever done what they said that they were going to do? All of these ways that they say it's going to benefit the community, that's just to get your in. They're not actually going to do it that way. And then very objectively, again, you were told by your councilwoman that this would not increase the taxes. Yes, it will. Like I'm saying, when you inject that much money into a piece of land, the land value skyrockets. And when that's downtown, that's going to trickle out into the entire city. Your taxes will not directly be impacted by Project
Thank you very
Marvel,
much.
but they will go up because of them. A lot.
Ms. Strong?
So I'm gonna speak against it at this time. First of all, I think it's irresponsible in the current budget climate where we don't know what we're gonna have to pick up from the federal level, as I said before. Second of all, there's been no true public engagement, and there cannot be the kind of public engagement we need on a project this size this summer before a November vote, based on a plan that's now being whipped up by April, we just heard. So second of all, there's been no cost-benefit analysis. We need a real, true cost-benefit analysis to make sure that we really are going to get this benefit.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ms. Tucker?
Okay, I do not agree with our Project Marvel. I mean, if they want to do it and they want to pay for it, I think that's great, but I don't think the city of San Antonio needs to pay for it. I think that a land bridge across 37 would be wonderful. I mean, how many of you go to the land bridge at Harbor River Park? That was only 25 million. I'm sure that one's probably going to be a couple $100 million, but we can all enjoy it. Thank you.
Ms. Gibbons?
Well, we just spent money on a bond for infrastructure, a bond for a study, a bond for affordable housing, and now you want a bond towards a Marvel project. Sounds like we're getting way over budget. We only have so much money in the general budget, and now we're already spending money, so I would be no for this. The last 4 NBA arenas were paid for by the investors and the owners. This will be the second most costly NBA arena that's ever been built. So the owners need to ante up or go back and see where you're at, and let's redevelop what we promised the first time.
Okay, so that finishes the 5 questions that the committee that put together this event worked up. And we now have some questions that have come from the audience. We won't be able to get to everybody's questions. We've looked through them, tried to select questions that weren't answered in the previous 5 and questions that would be of interest to the group that's here tonight. So I'll have Claire take over. We don't know exactly yet how many we can get through, but we have a number of them here.
And this is 1 minute.
Yes.
Okay, so, we'll start again with Ms. Gibbons. The City Council has created an LGBT Council Advisory Board. What criteria would you use for appointment to that board? Ms. Gibbons, you have 1 minute.
Well, probably the same criteria of any board that's done. What's been your involvement in your community on that topic? How active have you been? I think that those are good criteria right there. I do think it needs to be a little more of a level board. There's going to be more than just LGBT. I am not, if we go into Q and plus and trans, I do not think that should be on the board. I think the board should be consistent of just LGBT.
Thank you. Ms. Terry, yes, I will. The City Council has created an LGBT Council Advisory Board. What criteria would you use for appointment to that board?
Okay, first of all, I don't know why they would appoint a person like that for this position. I don't think that there's the majority of San Antonio that are that LBG or whatever it is. And I
Yeah, please. No applause, no booing, just let the candidates speak, please.
So I would use the criteria as with anything, with the person's qualifications, the person's activities in the community on issues that are relevant to the board.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I didn't actually say I have a master's in marriage and family therapy as one, and then also community psychology, which is based on participatory action research. And so how to make sure that all stakeholders are represented in the group is one of my specialties. And so with this, obviously, LGBTQ, somebody who was identified as part of that community. But also for me, it always goes down to economics. And so how do we make sure that person is also representing people who are LGBTQ and low income, because there comes a lot of unique problems with that. And so that would be the type of representation that I would be considering.
Thank you, Mr. Lynch.
LGBTQIA+ should not matter. It should be about your skills. It should be about your ability to serve the community. When you're doing a budget, it's about the numbers. It's not about your gender. That's that.
So this is where I really defer to the LGBTQ community to help advise that. I have some of those champions in here today. I'd be interested in what do they think is the priority for the people who serve with this commission so that our policies are looked through the right lens. I'm not an expert on it. I would look to the people in our community for it.
So as I said, when I proudly voted for this commission to be appointed, I'm going to say each letter very slowly because each letter matters and it represents individuals in our community who are constantly discriminated against. LGBTQ plus IA, they all matter. So when we actually appointed this person for our committee, we took applications from all the folks in the district, and we really wanted to get a diverse perspective to make sure that we're listening from all kinds of folks in the community, people that have maybe not been on a board before, people that have experienced this, and we're able to find someone who's doing a lot of research on the community and particularly the health challenges that they're facing. And so that's who our current representative is right now, and we'll always work with the community representatives to make sure that we have a great, strong person in that chair. And I'm also proudly to be the only one endorsed by Stonewall Democrats, and will hold that title right now.
Yes, I support the board, and we would be finding someone that will carry out its vision of inclusion. We often see friends of the city council being picked for these boards and these advisory boards, whether they be the LGBTQ board or the zoning board or the historic board or all these different boards. We see only friends or donors of the city council being picked. So we would pick a real community member, and I'm sure they have. And when their time comes up, when their term ends in 2 years, we will then see the job that they have done and if they have carried out the vision. So,
Thank you.
I think something like this is extremely important. My entire platform is that no one deserves to be ignored for any reason. I think making sure that we have someone that is advocating for everyone and that everyone feels represented, especially in a municipal setting. When it affects our everyday lives, it's extremely important if they have the requirements and or even someone that just wants to try. I think a lot of people are always scared to try because they feel like they don't belong, which is obviously the biggest problem we face every day.
Thank you. Okay. So the question from the audience is, what is the top initiative you will champion to support sustainability and climate resiliency in District 1?
I think this goes to speaking with experts and figuring out where we're going to be in a couple of years. It's extremely important that we're thinking ahead. A lot of times we kind of get caught with storms and then we don't realize that there was a problem to begin with, which causes a lot of problems, especially to people that are older or have families. I think there's a lot of research that we have to do, and we have to be extremely attentive to the changing roles around us.
Thank you.
yes, climate resiliency is sort of my topic of expertise. Speaking with experts, it's great to speak with the experts, but if you're not understanding the language that they're using, the terminology that they're using, it'll just go right over your head. People's eyes light up when we talk about the data that's coming in that shows that CO2 levels are rising and the temperatures are rising. Right now outside we are 10 degrees above normal. It should not be 92 outside. It should be 82 degrees. And we need not someone, not an attorney. We need a scientist on council, someone who understands this. Trying to cure cancer is difficult. A city budget is a piece of cake compared to DNA, RNA, and all of that. So someone who understands the language, someone who understands the data that's coming in, a scientist, and again, resiliency, CPS energy. When Storm Uri came and we saw the resiliency at zero when we all lost power.
Thank you very much. Ms. Carroll.
I think this is a two-part solution, at least for us, and what we're going to advocate for this upcoming year. This past year, we actually voted to add solar panels to parking lots and buildings to be the largest provider of solar panels for city buildings in the state of Texas. However, a lot of that funding was coming from the federal government, and some of it is potentially at threat right now. So we've got to make sure we can continue that project to ensure that city buildings actually do get that solar panel energy so to be more sustainable. The second is there's a project, many of you may know, the Impact Deal. They were actually working with the Office of Sustainability to fund community resiliency hubs. And this is a project actually got defunded in a portion of it this last year. So we need to go back and add more funding to that to make sure that communities stay resilient. And then the last thing is continue to try innovative strategies like the cool pavement program that allows for our pavement to cool down and mitigate the heat island effect.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gonzalez.
So first, I would really look to advocate more for the enhancement and the preservation of our tree canopy. First and foremost, everybody, our most desirable neighborhoods are ones like these who have beautiful trees, but they're also functional, right? They're beautiful and they're functional. We need to increase more of that and make sure that in our future developments, we're providing that as well. The other piece is also enhancing and expanding the climate resiliency. I was part of the Impact Deal when that was launched in partnership with Cynthia Spielman and the Beacon Hill Neighborhood Association during the freeze, and that really set the pilot for that effort. And they did an excellent job. I just went and volunteered with my son, but they did an incredible job that I would like to see expanded to the network across District 1.
Thank you.
So the United States government regulates car fuel, and all of it is unleaded now, so it might be familiar. But we do not regulate airline fuel. Cities like Austin do not allow you to build in a certain radius of your airport because they know that it's a health risk. I live near the airport, and I found out that the planes that fly over your head are releasing pollutants into the sky that cause health problems for children, that lower their IQ growing up, and they're hurting our future. They're hurting our environment. We, as a city, are level 1 sustainability. We track our carbon footprint, but we don't do anything about it. We, as city council, can change that. Valero is based right here in San Antonio and is the leading provider in alternative safe fuel. We, as San Antonio, can set the example for all other cities in sustainability.
Thank you very much. Mr. Linda.
First off, trees and lots of trees and fruit trees too. It really is such a simple solution. It's one of many. And then second off, I have a dream that one day, maybe in my lifetime, maybe in my grandkids' lifetime, that we'll be able to swim in the San Antonio River once again. I know, it sounds ridiculous, right? But there has to be a way, We need to protect our aquifer. We need to protect the water. Literally, life was created in water, right? That's when you hear water is life. Life was created in water. We have to protect our water source. And right now, have you guys heard about in Helotes, the 2,900 house development? That will likely push our aquifer over the edge. I learned recently what makes our aquifer so special. It's the Queen of Mother's Aquifer. That's what scientists around the world call it. Is because our limestone, everything just goes right through the land and into it. And so we have to be careful with pollution.
Ms. Strong.
So I agree, trees are one thing that the city can do on the city level to really improve the heat canopy effect and try to mitigate that, and it's an equity issue as well. We need to make sure that our trees are also going into less affluent neighborhoods, and they're also going into our city parks, because city parks are used by the entire community to escape the heat in the summer, to have picnics and gatherings, and soon to camp out over Easter. So some of you may or may not recall, but I got my start as an activist in River Road, trying to preserve the trees in Brackenridge Park, and it's near and dear to me that we preserve our heritage trees. We cannot let the Parks Department continue to not provide maintenance for our trees. We've lost a ton of trees in San Pedro Springs Park. We've lost them in Brackenridge. We need to do better. Also, we need oversight of saws. We have to protect our water. We have to protect our aquifer. We need to make sure we're getting our water.
Thank you very much.
So oversight there. Thank you.
Ms. Kegley.
Well, I think that we all need to be a part of it. We need unity and community. Whatever each of us can do to help sustainability, to help the climate change, we need to do it. We can't just have the city bring all these rules and impose all these, expensive things that we need to do. We need to do whatever is sensible, whatever is common sense, and whatever doesn't cost money, that will help the sustainability and the climate.
Thank you. Stevens?
I would like to see that the sustainability department does have scientists, a legitimate scientist that is not a scientist, he's an urban planner, and yet he runs the sustainability, so he gets to spend a lot of money in a lot of places. To think that we're saving the solar panels that Doug just put in cost $33 million. They're tier 1 panels, will get destroyed in 10 years' time. He also put in the car chargers all over. Those are $50,000 car chargers. They'll take you a day and a half just to charge your cars. It's the lowest form of car chargers out there. So I don't think we're definitely not saving money. I don't think we're moving any further down the road on sustainability. I'd like to see the CAP plan, the original CAP plan, come back into production, and you all need to read it, because in that sustainable CAP plan, which is 250 pages long, you're gonna find more taxes than you knew ever existed. I just read off to you a lot of money that just got spent. I guess we're not prioritizing it.
Thank you very much. So the next question from the audience is, what will you do to encourage infill development and reduce vacant properties in our inner city neighborhoods? Ms. Gibbons?
What would I do to,
You're going to repeat it?
yeah.
What will you do to encourage infill development and reduce vacant properties in our inner city neighborhoods?
Well, we have to lower the permitting process. It's very bureaucratic. I'm a land surveyor in 1995, it cost $3,000, take 3 months to do any development in the city. Today, it's gonna take you 6 to 9 months, maybe even longer, $30,000. It is layered with different departments, up to 23 different departments will look at it flat. Because if you want to develop on an infill, and it may be too small, because you're an urban site, it's too small a lot, and then you're gonna have 2 lots, and you gotta replat it, or if you wanna do away, if you wanna go IDC, so you don't have the side setbacks and the easements, that takes a lot of time and money for the developer. So now the cost of building that just went up, because the bureaucracy on development is way too high. It's why affordable housing happens, because all that bureaucracy, not all of it, most of it goes away, the tax goes away, and that's why the only people building are affordable housing. We're not kind to the developers who want to develop market rate housing.
Thank you very much. Ms. Kegley?
Well, Patty made a very good point in lowering permit costs. I know Mark White, City Council person Mark White has a CCR on that right now to do that very thing. And then I met today with the permit guy, Shannon, whatever his name is. But anyway, he is working with San Antonio Board of Realtors on something. And I don't know if you all are familiar with Brook City Banks, but down there, they've done a beautiful job developing that, bringing in businesses, and the way that they have done that, and they've been successful, is giving them tax incentives. So on these vacant lands that we have, to infill them, we just need to incentivize developers and cut out all the permit process so that we can develop them and they can be viable businesses.
So we do have a big problem with vacant structures, particularly I think in our historic and legacy neighborhoods, and we've had problems with vandalism and fires and crime surrounding these beautiful old structures. So I think what we need to do is we need to work with the landowners, we need to have a unit that finds the landowners, we need to have a combination carrot and stick approach. We need to increase our historic home tax credits for people who want to fix their homes, those homes up and sell them and make them into housing. And we need to have a stick approach, which is to enforce compliance fines against vacant homeowners or vacant homeowners. They're not always homeowners, sometimes they're corporations. But we need to take care of these vacant properties. And as far as infill development goes, again, I think we need to find a way to disincentivize keeping infill development that is not productive land use. and also to incentivize the use of that land for something that's of higher use. And by that, I'm talking about things like surface parking lots. Thank you.
So my understanding, a lot of vacant properties come about because of speculation, right? So developers who buy up the property because they think that that land is going to become worth more, and so they just leave it there. And so I suppose the speculation tax would be beneficial for that. And then also it makes me think about, have you ever seen like Florida Street all along City Hall lately? And like all of these small businesses that used to be there are now vacant. Same thing with where Soap Factory was too. This is actually Graham Weston. And he like is buying up these properties, purposefully blighting them, so that then he can get the tax breaks in order to redevelop them. And so being aware of like how all that's happening, and then with infill development, how can we do community-based economic development? How do we stop billionaires like Graham Weston and other corporatists from just sort of coming in and taking over San Antonio and developing it as cheaply as they possibly can? How do we get community-based economic development where people here are doing high-quality jobs developing our city?
Thank you very much. Mr. Lippert?
So to steal Susan Strong's metaphor, we do need to bait and stick certain property owners with decaying houses that need to just be sold back to the city so that we can do something with that property. Whether it's resell to a private developer who will actually do something with it, or incentivize some equal opportunity housing on that land. We need to do something with those properties. But also with city properties that sit vacant as well, that we're not doing anything with. There's land over by the St. Mary's Bar Districts on East Craig Place that just sits as an empty gravel lot, which could easily be turned into a parking lot. More parking would be more money to those businesses on St. Mary's, which in turn is more money to the city. As I said, I'm a big supporter of small business, because those bars are the culture and lifeblood of San Antonio, and that's what the people come there for. And we need a beautiful city that people want to visit and enjoy.
Thank you. Mr. Gonzalez?
This was a big thing I focused on in my work over on the west side and in the city. I created a housing incentive policy that actually encouraged development in our downtown. And then on the west side, I created a $20 million land bank that started to purchase vacant properties along disinvested corridors to be able to get them back into productive use, get them back on the tax rolls. So I would look to do that in many of the same corridors that we have here along San Pedro, along the Deco district. But one of the things is that the city council in this last budget defunded Prosper West from being able to do things like that, where they could otherwise be reaching into 5 Points and San Pedro and these different areas that have been neglected for a long time. We need to reinstitute that and come up with these same creative solutions that I've pioneered in the past to be able to take care of our vacant properties and build the housing we need.
Thank you.
We've been working on two policies to address this. The first is called missing middle housing. So if you go down Monte Vista, you'll see a lot of really old fourplexes that were built that look just like another single-family home, and they fit the character of the neighborhood. So we've been talking with stakeholders to figure out how could we replicate infill development that looks like the character of the neighborhood. And one idea that came up was create a pilot, have two properties that the neighborhood says, we would like on this property 4 units, or maybe 6 units. And then have a developer see what they can create together, see where those true barriers exist. So that policy is in the works right now. If anybody has feedback on it, we'd love to get it. We're gonna put it, we're hopefully gonna push it forward this summer. The second is a policy called state receivership. And in Dallas, they actually use it, and we get lots of calls about vacant nuisance properties. And the challenge is we can't get a hold of the homeowner. And so in this policy, we'll be able to use receivership to actually come up with some unique ideas for what we could do. And this would also address our displacement.
Thank you. Mr. Connor?
Yes, my policy to encourage infill development, my whole campaign is about encouraging infill development in the urban core, so not near your neighborhoods, unless of course you live downtown. Again, in between that 35 and where I-10 split this area from the downtown core. We all see those surface parking lots like that was mentioned. Those are the areas that need to go infill development, not the empty lot next to your home. And then as well, coming after these empty lots, Texas has pretty strong private property laws. So again, trying to track down the homeowner. there's also not displacing people. I've had a friend whose family lost their home because the city came and tore it down. So we want to prevent people from displacement. Also, bureaucracy and development, that is a good point. And like I mentioned, my policy is all about unified development code, so making it easier for the developer to build these missing middle houses.
Thank you very much. Ms. Madrone?
I think it's important that we're proactive, so this doesn't become an issue. We have issues with delayed construction in San Antonio, which causes a lot of those empty buildings that you see downtown because business owners can't stay open after everything happens. And even with issues with property taxes getting higher, there's actually a friend here that lives in a historic neighborhood. And this home, there was a couple of homes that were owned by generations of family, and then they can't maintain them, and then eventually it becomes a problem in that neighborhood because someone can't maintain it, we don't know the owners, and then we start dealing with vacant lots, and it just creates a problem in our neighborhoods before anyone can address it. So I think it's extremely important that we stay on top of it before it becomes an issue.
Thank you. We'll do one more question from the audience, and then we'll go into your 1-minute closing statements. So the final audience question is this. What are the 3 most pressing challenges facing District 1 in 2025 and beyond, and how would you resolve them?
Well, I guess I've already talked about this point. I think the biggest issues that we see are our infrastructure and downtown growing and our neighborhoods being affected by it tremendously. I think that we need and we have to be transparent. We have to communicate with our neighborhoods and see where everybody is at. One thing does not solve every neighborhood in District 1's issues. And I think if everyone is heard and everyone feels like they have someone advocating for them in City Hall, then they feel more represented by their elected officials, and it helps everyone feel more secure.
Thank you.
Yes, my 3 pressing challenges are right on my campaign flyer in the back. The high property taxes facing homeowners. We need to be working with the tax appraisal board. We appoint who is on the tax appraisal board, and we see houses being over appraised. So that would be one of the main issues. On my website, we have an excellent article from the SA report that goes over that in more detail. Another pressing issue is infrastructure. We mentioned it, all of us mentioned it. Not only potholes, sidewalks, and streets. Another one of my pressing challenges would be transportation. Not only streets, but we're projected to have another 1 million people by 2030. So making sure that they can get around efficiently. We're not all stuck on I-10 or 410 after this. On the interchange, we need to be getting places efficiently and solving that. All my policies, I don't have enough time to go over them, but again, on my website, there are greater details, so I encourage all of you to look at them.
We've talked about a lot of these a lot, but the 3 most pressing issues to me are 1, affordable housing, making sure that we're keeping people in their homes and maintaining that they can live there within their income. 2 is safety, making sure that we're addressing both property theft that has gone up and our stray and loose dog population. And then 3, I would say our parks and community centers, and really focusing on making sure all of our community assets are thriving. The thing I'm going to really focus on most in this next term is civic engagement. So many folks are not feeling like their voices are being heard and they're not engaged. And this is, if you look at all of the forums that we've got, so many people have been coming back, but there's still so many people we haven't reached. So one policy that we're trying to put into place is a CRM at the city level, where information gets passed on about constituents. You can decide what information you want to know about, whether it's about parks, whether it's about the arts, whether it's about street closures. You should be able to get more clear communication from your city, and I will really focus on that.
Thank you. Mr. Gonzalez?
Thank you. First, it would be public infrastructure. We've got so many streets, sidewalks that are just been ignored. I want to bring that equity-based model back to the way that we're budgeting and prioritizing our infrastructure investments. Second is really housing, and along with that, is making sure that people can afford the homes they're in, but we're also producing enough homes for the other people that are coming. And with that, also, we have to address our unhoused population, because it's a big issue here in District 1. There's a lot of things we can do I don't have time for, but there's a lot of things I'd love to talk to you about it after. And then the last thing is increasing economic opportunities in District 1. Supporting our small businesses so they can be out there creating more jobs, helping our young entrepreneurs get out there, because there's the fastest way out of poverty is entrepreneurship. So we want to be able to support many of our young entrepreneurs to get out there and create their own businesses and opportunities for their lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Galinda? I'm sorry, Mr. Lidwitz. My apologies.
So here's 3 new issues that, well, they're important to me because they're important to y'all. Firstly, construction. Let's get it moving. People want it gone, so we can't really hold the city accountable, but we can't hold private entities accountable. Simply put, we should allow bidding to allow companies to try and bring the costs down to the city on construction projects. We can hold them accountable to a timeline. And if we can hold a mayor to a certain term, we can hold construction companies. To prevent corruption, only so many times can you get that contract and apply. Secondly, crime. It's illegal to be sleeping on our streets and under our bridges. You should feel safe walking around. I would work with the police enforcement to make sure that they are in shelters and they have the care and help that they need. And lastly, ads. Ads are bad. I don't know if y'all know about this, but we just got approved a pilot program to put up digital billboards everywhere. Those are going up soon. We're going to be approving that, and if we do, they're never coming down. I don't want to see Powerade, Adidas, Coca-Cola everywhere. And if you like me, I'm going to make sure that never goes down. Once they go up, it's never coming down. So you got to.
Thank you very much. Ms. Galinda?
Number 1, Billionaire Graham Weston. Number 2, Billionaire Graham Weston. Number 3, Billionaire Graham Weston. I'm just kidding, I just saw one of his lobbyists here, and so I have to say that. Okay, Billionaire Graham Weston is number 1, and then the city management, and then the mayor, all of them working together, because be careful. Graham Weston's lobbyists literally is in your communities. These are people who don't care about your community, your home. They care about making the land underneath it as expensive as possible. You know why the city manager and mayor want that? Is because then they get an increase in their property tax revenue. All of that assumption-based budgeting is based off of how much more money can we milk off of our citizens and their property taxes. So yeah, be careful, and boycott Missions baseball, so that we don't even need that for the baseball stadium.
Thank you. Number 1, preserving our essential services and our San Antonio way of life in the face of federal cuts. Number 2, restoring the lack of trust that we now have between the citizens and the city government. We need to have a true public engagement process that starts at the concept stage of any project, does proactive outreach to the affected citizens and brings them along and takes their input seriously from the concept stage, not a sales pitch after the fact. We need to restore that trust because right now it's broken. And 3rd, accountability. This is a cross-cutting issue that goes to infrastructure, goes to housing, goes to transportation. We need to get what we're paying for. We can do better than what we're doing now. Our parks can be better, our streets can be better, our sidewalks can be better, but it starts with accountability. And that starts with oversight, strong oversight by city council. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kegley?
So my 3 top priorities are the budget. Right now, the city of San Antonio has the highest debt per capita. That means you owe more money per person than any other city in the whole nation. Aren't you proud of that? I think that we need to do something about that. And then the transparency of where all that money is spent. The next issue is safety. I know that when I was walking a couple years ago, I got attacked by a pit bull, was out on drugs for 3 months and not able to work for 3 months because of the dog that attacked me. And I had to wear a look-back machine. I think that safety, we can't have our children. I did a prayer walk-in on the west side by the Frank Garrison. I do that every first Sunday. And there was just a whole bunch of dogs out there, and I'm like, I'm kind of like afraid of them, but we need to have safe communities. And then the other thing is just that we need to have more communication. So when I'm your city council person, I will communicate with you and be your conduit.
Thank you very much. Ms. Gibbons?
I think small businesses is one of my top ones. I was a small business owner for 30 years, and we want to make sure that those are maintained. 37% of District 1 is small business, so I think we have to make sure that we're protecting them. We can't be irritated because a horse is walking down the street, and so let's shut down that business. They are making a living, and yet we're shutting it down. I also think that we need to take care of your quality of life. Every time we walk outside your door, there's a quality of life there. Is your sidewalk too rigid to walk on? Is your street not paved enough? They're all over the place, and it really needs to stop. But if we continue, I think maybe the third one would be the distractions. We're so off our priority, and we get distracted so easily that now we spend money where we don't really should be spending it, which is the infrastructure. We are not budgeting enough money on the general budget for infrastructure, and we want again because there's too many projects going on.
Thank you. Okay. Now we're going to move to your 1 minute closing statements. Ms. Gibbons.
Thank you all for being here. It's the largest group that we've talked to, and y'all are lovely to look at, lovely to talk to. I know you probably heard some things you liked and some things you didn't like, I don't know. I'm Patty Gibbons, running for City Council. My newsletter back there looks like this. On the inside, you're gonna get some information on how I see the construction problems out there and how I see the dog situation, how we start to solve those problems. I've already been working this job before I ran for office. I've been a community organizer. I've been a neighborhood association president. You saw a lot of these problems already. And I'm the only one that has been a community organizer and, well, not a community organizer, many of you are, but a neighborhood association president. On the back is the first 100 days in office. And I think to me, this is maybe one of my top issues as well, is that this district changed 2 years ago. We are now a south and a north district. And it's not all about the south end, there's a whole district, and I want you to read this because this is about how we can come back and be reunited and work together.
Ms. Kegley.
Thank all of you for being here tonight, and I really do appreciate your input. And when I get to be your city council rep, I want you to know that I'm gonna represent everybody. It doesn't matter to me whether you're white or brown or black. It doesn't matter to me whether you're rich or poor. It doesn't matter to me your lifestyle, because I love everybody, I respect everybody, I wish everybody would respect me. One thing that I want to do, I want God to come back into the city of San Antonio. I want us to have moral values, and everybody should respect everybody, regardless if you think differently. Why can't we respect everybody? So I'm going to be your conduit. I'm going to do the best for your family and my family and everybody that lives here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you again to the organizers for putting this together, and thank you all for being here. I am here because I got involved with the River Road Neighborhood Association, and through that, worked with a lot of the neighborhood associations, got to know some of you all. And we're all here, I think, because we don't feel that we're being heard in the current environment. And so, you know, what I promise you, if elected, is that I will work with you all. I will work with, to institute a good public engagement process that, as I said, starts at the beginning of a project, brings everybody along, brings everybody together, and has real public input. And I believe the neighborhood associations are a force multiplier for city government. You all have a lot of expertise. You've worked on these issues for a long time. You have institutional knowledge. You're not the only ones whose voice matters, but your voice does matter, and it matters a lot. So I will promise that I will be a full-time council person. I will be proactive with outreach. I will let you know what's going on before it happens. And I thank you for your support.
So I guess I have this vision of a future San Antonio that's one that like everybody can participate in. So instead of a downtown that's like real shiny and it's hiding all of the homeless because everything's gotten so expensive, a veneer of progress, right? One where downtown has lots of small businesses and it maintains its like kind of small town culture and charm despite being a growing, thriving city. So that's what I'm really after. I really would love to ask, or like I said, everybody just like keeps having these conversations, regardless of who of us is on the dais, that you guys have all of the information. You need to hold us, or whoever here, accountable. And then I really say like how passionate I am about participatory policy making. How can we make sure, like I want to have meetings with lots of food where we all just like break bread together and talk about policy and how to
Thank you
make
very
our
much.
cities better. So, yeah, Marika Lindo, thank you.
Mr. Lewis.
So I'm gonna try and tone down now. Sorry for my energy, but I'm very passionate. I'm running because I want to be the change that I want to see. I can't wait. It needs to be now. I am a community organizer. I create venues and festivals where everyone can have fun. I believe in people, not parties. I believe in heart. And I love this city. Your district is the district that all the other districts come to visit, your neighborhoods. Because the construction, the crime, and the ads that you see affect you specifically. Your decisions, our decisions, create the unique identity of San Antonio in this city. You're not any city. You are not any district. We are number one. Vote Dominique Domingo Lippitz.
Thank you very much.
No other incumbent in the election has this many challengers. That doesn't happen when neighborhoods are happy. And so we are looking right now, when we're looking at all these candidates, we're thinking about who's gonna sit in that seat to represent you when faced with City Hall and city staffers who've been there for 30 years. That's what you're looking at today. I represent someone who actually knows City Hall, knows how to navigate all of that, knows what tools exist, and knows how to create new tools to solve the problems in our district. I'm asking you to put my experience to work for you. My experience not only in city government, but my lived, born and raised experience in these neighborhoods, in this district, fighting alongside you for the past 44 years. Help me to work for you so that we can solve these problems. Thank you.
There's a saying in Spanish that says, "Dime con quien andas y te diré quién eres," which means, tell me who you roll with, and I'll tell you who that person is. I'm so proud to be endorsed by so many amazing leaders in this community that I've been able to look up to. Representative Bernal, Senator Menendez, Congressman Castro, Judge Nelson Wolf, Mayor Ed Garza, just Trustee Cristina Martinez, and so many community and neighborhood leaders. Our team and I have worked so hard and learned a lot. We haven't always been perfect, but we've always been available. My number's on all of our material. If you ever want to get a hold of me, I will absolutely share my sellout. But I'm asking for your vote today for re-election, because with me, you not only get me, but you get a rock star team that we built. Did it take us a little time to get there? Yes, but startups are tricky. And we've got really strong people that care so much about our communities and our neighborhoods. Whether it's Ryan with 5 Points, whether it's Luana with Monte Vista, or Nadia with Beacon Hill. You know you've got rock stars that care really about your issues and your needs.
Thank you very much. Mr. Gunn.
San Antonio, we're at a crossroads. There's a reason why 8 or 9 of us are coming to challenge the incumbent. Y'all are here to choose a replacement, and I believe I am that replacement. I'm not here to play politics. I'm here to deliver results. I'm ready to be your fiduciary, your representative, your voice at City Hall. I'm not here because my campaign is funded by corporate lobbyists, like Weston Urban. I'm not working for the establishment. I am working for you. The renters, the homeowners, the small business people, the students, the families who have been left behind. While others protect the status quo, I'm here to challenge it. We deserve a city that is walkable, sustainable, and honest. One that invests in its people, not consultants. If you're ready for a bold leadership, for transparency, for someone who sees public service as a duty, not an ambition, then I ask for your vote. Let's build the San Antonio we all deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. John.
Once again, thank you guys so much for being here. You probably look at me and a couple of us and think, what do these young people really know about politics? I'm not a politician, you're right, but I do care. I think it's extremely important that you have someone that is transparent and really cares about their community and is there to listen, no matter what the problem is, not just when it's re-election time. I am going to be someone that is going to advocate for you because I'm a fighter. I've been fighting my whole life. It's what I've done, it's what I know. And I just genuinely care about the people in San Antonio and the people in District 1. I see myself as someone that it comes from District 1. District 1 is my family. I think it's really important that, once again, you have someone that is transparent and that you know where their financial interests lie.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you guys all for sticking with it. This is a long event, but it's really important for us to get as much information as we can from our candidates. I saw a number of people here with babies, with children. Thank you so much for bringing them. I'm sure some of them may have thought, oh, this is just a bunch of boring grown-ups talking. But that's the next generation that could be up on this slate, could be in neighborhood leaders. So thank you so much for bringing them. And just such a wide representation of every generation here is really encouraging for me. I started going door to door at 14 for local politicians. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, and it's just really encouraging to see so many people. We had over 100 people based on the chairs and a number of people over here in standing. So just thank you guys so much for coming. A number of things that I just want to make really quickly. One, to Laurel Heights United Methodist Church. Thank you for having us. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for moderating for us. Thank you to the candidates. My aunt was a politician. She's the first and only female mayor of Cleveland, and so I know what it takes to put yourself out there, to run, to make a lot of sacrifices in your life, and so thank you for putting yourself out there. And we are so lucky to have something to everyone involved for your almost lastly, the audience, you guys did such a great job of sticking to our decorum, so now you can clap. I just want to encourage everyone who did come, think of a friend who didn't come, who isn't sitting next to you, make sure they vote. Early voting, we're so lucky to have early voting as an offer here. Make sure you vote early, vote often. That's what I would say. And lastly, my fellow planning committee, this event started as just a few people who wanted to see this happen. We got together, and so regardless of outcome, I want you all to think about what you learned up here, what resonates with you, and what you can bring back to your neighborhoods. As neighborhood associations, we always want more people involved, and the fact that you came here shows that you want to be involved and you care about your neighborhoods. So please bring that back and that passion back to your own neighborhood. And one last thing, we do have to be out of here very quickly. So I encourage, if you want to have conversations with candidates or with other fellow people here, please have them in the parking lot so we can vacate the room as soon as possible. Again, thank you so much for coming. See you in 4 years.
guys.